Hi, and welcome to another episode of More Than a Business Live. I am your host, Mitch Case. I'm also the co-founder of More Than a Meal, where we work with organizations to help them strengthen their most valued relationships by showing gratitude and appreciation one meal at a time. We are live at Kansas Sherm, so my background looks a little different. My shirt looks a little different, but we're incredibly excited to continue to bring this to you every single Thursday. And when I thought about what we were putting on here, this More Than a Business Live, it was really around this idea of being exposed to a lot of individuals in amazing companies that work hard day in and day out, maybe don't get the recognition or the highlight that they deserve, and creating a space that people want to be a part of and desire to be a part of. So I'm incredibly excited about this episode. But before we jump into that, I'm incredibly grateful for one of our sponsors, True Captive. So if you haven't heard about True Captive Insurance, they believe in healthcare that is personal and insurance that isn't complicated. So if you want to learn more about this unique captive healthcare program, you can just visit True Captive at www.truecaptive.com. So with that, I'm excited to bring on our next guest. Since I'm operating offsite, I don't have my second screen, so I'm going to be rocking the cell phone a little bit today, but I'm really, really excited. Katherine has an interesting perspective where she gets to use the creative side as well as the analytical side from an operations perspective and a culture builder. So I'm excited to kind of dive into what she has done to transform this organization into what it is today. And we're going to dive into that. Before I do, I'm going to go ahead and give her quick introduction. So Katherine is the Chief Operations Officer at Kid Glove, who brings a little over 5 years of dedicated leadership to the organization. So in her role, she oversees every facet of organizational strategy, including culture, HR, business ops, consistently driving excellence and benefits to the organization, as well as IT management. And as a culture-first visionary, she is renowned for her talent in crafting transformative workplace cultures that ignite success and elevate employee morale. I'm going to let her give the rest of that here in just a second. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and introduce Miss Katherine Warren. Katherine, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me. Very happy to be here.
Awesome. All right. Before we dive into that impact story that I'm dying to hear, I do want to let anybody know that's tuning in right now. Let us know where you're watching from. Are you on Facebook or LinkedIn? What city are you tuning in from? And if you have any questions for Katherine as we continue to go, we're going to try and answer those towards the end. So shoot that into the comments. We'd be happy to pop those up, give you a shout out, and see if we can answer those at the end. But with that, Katherine, let's go ahead and jump into that impact story. I love starting the show off with a good story on maybe something that Kid Glove has done to make a direct impact, maybe on a team member or a community member that just really pops out and stands out to you. So I'm going to leave it to you to maybe talk a little bit about that impact story that you might have.
Yeah. So this was a tough question because we are an advertising agency that works with social impact, nonprofit, and purpose-driven business.
You have to pick one.
Right. So all day, every day, we're creating impact. We're creating that ripple effect that I like that you talked about in the question with the work that we're doing, the messages that we're sharing.
Yeah.
However, as you mentioned, my focus and love is culture, company culture. And so I thought I would share an impact story along those lines with our team.
Yes.
And the impact story is that we are a culture first agency and have always been. We were awarded Best Places to Work 4 years in a row. We had a lot going for us.
Yes.
We had this huge growth spurt during the pandemic because we do work with a lot of public and behavioral health organizations that needed a lot of messaging during that time.
Yeah.
Post-pandemic, we had a little bit of a downturn. We had to go into a bit of survival mode. And we made some management decisions that reflected that sort of knee-jerk survival mode type of being, and it really hurt our culture.
Yeah.
And so we made a very tough decision when a lot of the big dogs probably would have continued to be in that survival mode and continue to focus on the numbers. We stopped and said, nope, wait a second. We can tell our culture is crumbling. That is the antithesis of everything that we stand for. We have to turn around and focus on our culture and rebuild what we worked so hard to build and whatnot. So it was a huge time, and it wasn't that long ago when this happened.
Wow.
So we made the decision to double down on culture because culture creates happier, healthier employees that are more focused, more productive, and want to do great work for our amazing clients, right? So we have to
Yes.
say, stop, we're going back to our culture focus. And we use three key tools to get us there. So we have three sort of culture tools that we use here at Kid Glove.
Okay.
And I'm very proud to say we're about 5 months into this rebuild. And
Okay.
the impact that we've had has been dramatic, both on our team morale, even the way that we're working with each other has really up leveled. And of
Mm.
course, you see it in the bottom line, right? You see it in the
Yeah. Yeah.
sales and how you're able to sustain your business. So that's the impact story that I have to share
Wow.
today.
Okay. A lot of questions because
Yes.
this is a unique scenario. Usually you see, somebody that has that award of best places to work tends to keep those. So
Mhm.
you have a unique perspective of, and we don't need to dive in on why you lost that or anything along those
Yeah.
lines. But the fact that you recognize that and decided to actually change that. My question is, I know that it starts from the top, and you're going to have to, have buy-in from everybody. But how are you getting buy-in? How are you getting through to those team members to show through your actions, like, this is something we are very, very serious about, and this is a main focus.
Mhm.
Obviously, revenue and profits and all that stuff is going to have to be a part of what happens because of this. But how are you guys getting buy-in with your team?
Yeah. So we took a three-prong approach to getting that buy-in. And the
Yeah.
first, and I think what is the most key thing that we do here at Kid Club that we did prior and did again once we figured out that this was, really happening,
Mm.
are what I call culture coffees, which are just,
Okay, that's new to me. Tell me.
yeah. So it is taking team members out to coffee. And, for us,
In
we're
or out of the office?
out of the office. Absolutely out of
Yes.
the
Okay.
office. Yeah. And, we're a team of 15 people. So it was easy for me to do this with everyone. I think if
Yeah.
you're at a larger organization, you could certainly do it with key team members that are either up leveling culture or maybe inhibiting culture, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um, However, I ask three questions. I ask, what are we doing well for culture? What could we be doing better? And specifically during this rebuild process, the question that I asked that really helped me get to the core of it was what broke? What
Mm.
happened? That what in your perception happened that made
Yeah.
culture, go in the not right direction for a little while. And I think what's key to that is you have to be a person, if you're conducting that culture coffee, you have to be the kind of person who can find those themes. And I think that's where the ops and the analytical brain comes
Yeah. There we go. There it's showing.
in, themes, right? And
Yeah.
bring those to the leadership team. So it's not
Yeah.
about who said what. And you have to have the ability to discern, okay, is this a core issue or is this just someone needing to vent?
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
discovering those key issues and those key themes, and they're not always what you want to hear, right? But they are the true drivers of what's driving the culture. And then you can take those themes back to the leadership team, and it gives you a great guidepost for, okay, this is exactly what we need to work on, right?
Yeah, what a just a clear way to. I mean, it seems so like rudiment in the sense of like, well, let's ask the team members that experienced this what their experience was like, and
Yeah.
it's maybe sometimes that's hard to drop that ego or that stance of like never wanting to be wrong type of scenario, but getting that feedback is absolutely incredible, and I've seen that just even within my organization at a young level. um, I I'm just sitting here and thinking like, what an amazing organization to be a part of that says, hey, we had it all, we lost it, and now we know how precious that was.
Yeah.
And what a great opportunity for somebody to come into something to say like, we know where we've been and we want to get back to where we were, and we're actively pursuing that. Like that's just such a great um, reminds me of entrepreneurship, honestly. It's
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
ups and downs,
Yes.
never changing. So I love that impact story that can really truly have on the individuals that are currently there and potentially the future team members that come on, uh, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Hmm.
Um, well, with that, let's switch over. I mean, we kind of dove a little bit into what truly makes Kid Glove more than a business, but let's maybe dive a little bit deeper into that and maybe some of the different initiatives, maybe outside of like specifically culture building and some of the things that you guys are doing that truly make Kid Glove more than a business, both for your team and your clients?
Yeah. Yeah. So for our clients, it says it in our name, right? Kid Glove. We treat our clients with kid gloves, meaning that we come alongside our clients, right? Again, we're working with social impact, nonprofit organizations where the person in charge of marketing is likely wearing an immense amount of hats. Marketing is
Yes.
one of them.
Yep.
And so we're not going to come in and finger wag and say, we know what to do. We're going to come alongside and help educate them on marketing best practices, help them spread, we're spreading messages about prevention, parenting, mental health. Like the topics that we're talking about are deep, and
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
to spread those messages.
It's emotional for
Right.
sure.
Yeah. Yep. And we talk a lot about here at Kid Glove positive disruption. And
Interesting.
so
Okay.
we do a lot of work trying to make those very hard messages positive. And saying to parents, hey, we get it, this is hard to talk to your kids about this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
So how do we take a positive angle to such hard topics to gain the buy-in and gain the interest? And people don't need yet another thing telling them what to do. They need someone to help them and say, hey, we get it, here's what
Yeah.
we're working on. So I think that's
Yeah.
a huge piece of what helps make Kid Glove more than a business.
Yeah. What I heard through a lot of that, just from, the impact story you talked about, and then with the clients, was like, we're trying to learn from each of those. Like, what have your experiences been? We want to collaborate. Maybe you have better ideas than we do, and being open and receptive to that, to take it into that angle, can, obviously make a stronger, more inclusive culture. But also from a business perspective with clients, like, maybe they have some really good ideas that you guys haven't even thought about, or
Mhm.
somebody's put their blood, sweat, and tears into this. And if you come in and just wipe that away, you break that trust, you break that relationship. I spent 10 years in commercial HVAC sales, and it kind of goes back to your coffee conversations. I was so adamant on making sure that I got a one-on-one coffee out of a work environment to be able to build that relationship up. And the worst thing you can do is just come in and tear it down with one quick conversation and saying you're doing everything wrong.
Mhm.
So kudos to you guys on that. It resonates a lot with my experience, both in sales and as a business owner now, on how we try to develop that. So yeah, kudos to you guys. Any other like ideas or initiatives that you guys have going on right now that you want to share? I mean, I know you guys are helping from a marketing perspective, and you talked about getting into some really, really hard conversation type emotional decisions that come through there. Like, what are some other areas that you guys are working with clients or employees in that way?
Well, going back to the culture angle, I think
Yeah.
one thing that really sets us apart is the way that we define culture. So, we don't define culture as our perks or our benefits or how much fun we have, although those are great and we have those.
Yes.
That's not how we define our culture. The way that we define our culture is creating joy in our work. And that's what gets people to want to come to work every Monday morning, right? That's the thing that we really hone in on here. And what I mean by joy in the work is we give our employees the time, the space, and the autonomy to do great work, to do work that
Hmm.
they're proud of, work for clients that they love, and a team that they love and respect and want to give their best to. And so it's our job as leaders to create that space that allows for that to happen. And there's a lot of things that go into that, right? How do you
Yeah.
create that space? But it's about the joy in the work, not about the beer Fridays, right? That really
The keg in the office or the pool table, for sure.
yeah, yeah. And
Um,
trust. You said trust. Trust is a key piece to all of
yeah.
it.
Yeah. I, yeah, I resonate so much with all the things you're talking about. I think really like the autonomy, because I always talk about, um, it doesn't, like, to find joy in your work doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be solving world problems or saving all the puppies out there. Sometimes joy in work means the flexibility to be able to drop your kid off at school and be there to pick them up, or be at those soccer games when sometimes you don't have that flexibility, and you can find joy in that work because an organization supports you in that, trusts you in that, that, yeah, you're going to have to get your work done, and maybe they get to do some really cool things through their work. But the joy truly comes from the opportunities outside of work that maybe they wouldn't see in other organizations. So I always like to just mention that the autonomy is such a huge piece, and was one of the reasons why I felt I needed to make a career change in my past, because although I had autonomy as a salesperson, it always felt like it was driven towards, you have the autonomy to go out and sell whenever you want to
Yeah.
versus the autonomy to shut it down and go be a dad and a husband.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
um, uh, you've got my mind just spinning on all these different things here. So I'm going to try and rein it back in and
Okay.
focus in on this. And now I just really want to talk about you. I know that every single day is not sunshine and rainbows anywhere that you work. From going from the top of the mountain to best places to work to losing that was probably not the day that you stood up and clapped and jumped for joy. So I want to dive in, what motivates you to continue to show up every day when sometimes it's hard to show up, but some days it's good to show up and it's exciting. But tell me, what really motivates you to continue to have the opportunity to serve the people that you're blessed to serve?
Yeah. So I like to call myself a fierce pursuer of balance. And what I mean by that is I spent a lot of my life, 20 plus years, battling some pretty serious depression and insomnia.
Mm,
And I found a set of tools that helped me create balance in my life, that really helped me get to an authentic, balanced way of living so that I can show up every day, that I can show up as my best self for my team, for my family, for everyone in my life. And so now
yeah.
I feel called to share that with others, including
Yes.
people that I work with. And so that's really what motivates me, to do what I do every day, and why I'm so passionate about helping people find that same balance in their lives so that they can be the very best version of themselves at work. When you're with your family, you're really with your family, right?
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
head's not somewhere else. So yeah, that's really what, and why I'm so passionate about great culture, because great culture creates that same balance.
One, I just appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that, because I think a lot of people need to hear that. As a male who sometimes feels like I got to keep it all together because I'm the man of the house. Unfortunately, I've married a wonderful woman that says, quit that. I don't need that. It feels really good to just kind of hear that you have been vulnerable in that position and want to share that with other people. That resonates with me in the time of building a business that can be really, really challenging, and wondering if I'm doing the right things every day. If you don't mind sharing a little bit about that. I don't want to get too
Yeah,
far into the weeds
sure.
with that, but what are some of the things that you've come out of with those individual tools, if you want to share a couple, because I think this is going to resonate with a lot of people.
So mindfulness was number one for me.
Okay, can you dive into mindfulness a little
Yeah,
bit more on that?
absolutely. So when I was sort of in the thick of everything in this depression, I met someone who just kind of looked bright and shiny and happy. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Well, I'm meditating." And I'm like, I could try to meditate. That sounds like something I could do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it all started. And
Okay.
mindfulness helped me understand that my thoughts weren't something that I needed to react to, that my thoughts weren't always serving me. And, the ability to sort of recognize your thoughts just as thoughts helps a lot. And then allows you to go to a place where you can slow down those thoughts a little bit more. And
Mm.
for me, that helped me sleep better because insomnia was
Oh,
right. So
yeah.
sleeping better made me want to make better choices in my life, made me want to focus more on wellness physically and mentally. So it was
Yeah.
sort of this big spiral effect from there,
Mm.
different tools that, and again, I am in, to your point, balance is not sunshine and roses.
Mm.
It is not, everything's great all the time.
Yeah.
Being present in your life and being as strong of a version of yourself as you can so that you can show up for others.
So I'm somebody that has not suffered from depression, so I'm not going to even pretend that I fully understand what you have battled. So this is just genuine curiosity that I'm
Mhm.
asking. This
Yeah.
is, I recognize you said showing up as your best self, and sometimes your best self, I'm guessing, is not 100% of you. So
Yeah.
how do you handle those situations when all you've got is 20% to be your best self?
Yeah.
Maybe during some of those harder moments. How do you navigate through that if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, so I think what mindfulness helps you do too is recognize that. So recognize like I need to back down a little bit, or I need to go for a walk, or I need to close my eyes at my computer and take 5 good breaths and just focus on the
Mm,
breath and recenter. So it's using those little tools to help yourself come back to it and not numb yourself to burnout, right? So if you're feeling
yes,
maybe
yes.
you're going in a bad direction, you acknowledge that and
Hmm.
understand that and bring it back to balance. That's why I have a blog on the side where I talk about a lot of these things. And
Oh,
my
really?
yeah,
Okay, we're gonna make sure that we get that blog in the comments in this, so I'll make sure to
yeah,
do that.
yeah. But my last blog was on how I cringe at the words work-life balance. And the reason that I do is because everything we do is life, right? Everything we do
Yes,
is life. So it's
yes,
about balancing work, family, wellness. How, you can overdo everything in your life
yeah.
and you can underdo everything in your life. So it's about creating a balance of all those things, living your life and knowing when it feels safe and okay for one of those things to kind of take over the others for a while
Hmm.
and when it doesn't, right? So
All
so
right, I'm
it's
taking a ton of notes. um, I really appreciate you sharing this, and this wasn't the intent from your motivation side, but I just think this is so common in so many places of work where we feel like, even myself at times where I feel like I just need to wake up and work harder. I'm going to get up at 4 a.m. instead of 5 a.m. I'm going to white knuckle it, and then continuously I find that I just wear myself to the point where I have to sleep, and my wife has to remind me that you're not 100% of yourself if you're not taking care of yourself. So thank you for sharing that. And like, I hate that I have to kind of cut us off and keep moving
yeah,
on because we
no.
are getting close to the end of that time. Um, Katherine, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you coming on. And part of that gratitude for coming on, we want to give a meal out to one of your team members for whatever reason that you see necessary to gift that meal to an individual. So if you don't mind, maybe tell us who that might be and why, as much as you want to share.
Yeah. So I thought about this a lot because there are so many deserving people for a meal, right? Our team, every member of our team.
We can send more than one meal, but you have to work with us on that end.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true, right? We'll talk after. But even the people our clients serve are so
Yeah,
deserving,
yeah.
so to go on and on. However, since the theme that I came here with was culture, I thought it would be nice to gift a meal to our founder and president of Kid Glove, Lynn Weinman.
Awesome.
Because
Awesome.
Lynn had to make a lot of hard choices during this time to rebuild our
Mm.
culture. And she fought for our team and she fought for our clients and she had to make some tough decisions to do that. And I think she is very deserving of a night off and a meal, and maybe she'll pair it with a nice glass of wine. Who knows, right?
Yes, yes. Well, Lynn, just hearing more about the business that you have started and Katherine sharing the work that you guys are doing, I'm grateful to be able to help out in that scenario and wish you guys the best of luck moving forward and success moving forward, getting back that best places to work. And just hearing from what I just heard, I have no reason to believe that that wouldn't be the case. So, Katherine, thank you so much. If anybody wanted to reach out to you to learn more about Kid Glove, about
Yeah.
your blog, or just like, hey, I'm going through some hard times right now too, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
So my email address is katherine.warren@kidglove.com. Kid Glove doesn't have an E at the end, so it's just
Okay, okay. I did have to clarify before that I was saying it correctly, but I will say that I said it correctly.
Yep. And you
There
can
we go.
link into me too. Welcome to link into me, and all my information about all of the things I do is on LinkedIn as well. So
Awesome. If for whatever reason somebody reaches out for me to get in contact with you, I'll make sure to do that as well. But Katherine, thank you so much for coming on the show. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, so with that, we are going to be wrapping up the show. We come to you guys every single Thursday at 3 p.m. live, whether we're at the Kansas Sherm or not. We will be here every single week talking with a guest that is truly making an impact, not only in their business, potentially even their personal lives and those that are around them, but even their community. So I'm grateful for everybody that gets to tune in and be a part of this. And until next time, have a wonderful day, and we will see you next time.